Hi everyone, and welcome to another Wish Fulfilled Friday, the Friday segment of my channel. Is that the right thing to call it? That focuses on your successes, on our success stories. This one is particularly crazy, juicy. It was a hell of a bridge. In fact, I can't even remember, 6-7 months ago roughly, I spoke about this success story. I had asked my client if it was okay to share what had happened, and I was using it to demonstrate the importance of persisting on this journey, because you're always told to persist, and a lot of people think that means techniques all the time, all day long, mental diet and all of this obsessiveness, when in fact it's just persisting in your state of the wish fulfilled, persisting in that new state, in the knowing, in the acceptance that this is done. I've imagined it, it's taken care of, and I'm in the state. I just walk in faith of that. Let me just live my life. This is all sorted out now. My higher self is taking care of that bridge of events. And so with her, she had to persist through the most crazy circumstances. Maybe you guys are experiencing the same, or any of you having big blockers and obstacles that are in the way. Perhaps these obstacles have been in the way for the longest time, that you're wondering, how is this going to turn around? Maybe it's a third party that just doesn't seem to be going away. It's just a stubborn factor in all of this. Maybe it's a situation where you don't even know if your SP has feelings for you. They've never indicated it. They've never shown anything, never shown any interest. If anything, shown the opposite. Maybe it's a situation where things seem to be getting, if anything, worse. Even if you feel like you're in your wish fulfilled, do you feel like things are just going in the opposite direction, or it's getting worse, or it's not changing at all? Hopefully this story is going to inspire you and again demonstrate how there is always movement. Like I said, manifestation is instant. It's instantly, things were happening, and a lot of it was behind the scenes, under the surface, where the seed had been planted and we did not know about it. And I must admit, even myself, with all my experience, I'm there accepting that this is all done for her. Like I do with my clients, I accept my clients are going to get success. I keep stating it. It's my kind of mantra that they get success, and of course they do, because that's why I'm getting so many successes come in. But of course, even with this unfolding, I was there biting my nails and tense for her, because that bridge of events is not always smooth sailing. And yes, it's going to sometimes feel like everything is crashing around you and you're going to start questioning yourself. But I really hope that this story inspires you and helps you through those tough circumstances, because really she went through a lot. She did really well. Thank you so much, darling. I know that you were really concerned about, obviously, the nature of this story. There's some sensitive stuff in there, and also you wanted to keep private. But if you do want to comment or let yourself know, or anything like that, you know, feel free, as I always say to my clients. Also, as it's success story she just submitted to me, to one of my newer clients, I was able to submit that questionnaire that I've mentioned to you guys before. I submit a little questionnaire to my clients as well, because we want all the juiciness, we want all the information extracted. I know you guys do. So I made her answer some questions just about, what did you do? What did you imagine? What did you do on the days that you missed your SP? That kind of thing. The common questions that you get asked. So she's done the little questionnaire as well after that. So thank you so much to my client for going in as much detail as she possibly could, because I always emphasize how important that is. And thank you as well for taking the time to answer that questionnaire. And thank you guys for joining me today. If you're new here, welcome. I'm Athena Raven. I'm a mental health and manifestation life coach. I'm here to empower and inspire you on this manifestation journey to success. So if you're enjoying the content and it's really helping you out, then please do in turn help this channel out by liking and subscribing. Click that bell icon as well, so you never miss a beat. And I'm always posting out can't even talk. Posting out videos, usually every Tuesdays, and of course our Wish Fulfilled Success Story Friday. So would love to see you all joining as much as you can, because we've got a great community here, and I love and appreciate all of you for being here. So make yourselves comfortable, make yourselves at home, get yourself a hot drink, and let's see what this Friday brings us. I usually try and skim through, but they're so long and I get so busy, and oh my God, it's Friday. I'm recording this at like 2 in the morning in the UK to get it out in time for you guys. You see, so dedicated I am. But of course that means that I just skim through. So excuse me if I stumble a bit or or whatever. So I'm trusting you, Hunt. I'm trusting that you've made this all clear for me to read. Let's see. And we'll start the story off. So she says, and Coco's probably going to dream, bark, and snore in a minute as well. Perfect timing, Coco. So my client was saying, I can't believe I'm finally writing out my success story to you, Athena. First up, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the wonderful work that you do and all of your support. You were there to hold my hand, metaphorically, of course, through the thick and the thin, and a bridge that was testing me to the extreme. I am now at a point in my life that I thought would be impossible to reach, and I mean impossible, thanks to some insane circumstances and a lot of misguidance from inexperienced coaches. I know you shared some of my success already when my bridge was really looking like it was working against me and how we turned it all around. I will go into more detail about this later, but I shall start from the very beginning for your audience as I know that this is important. I was one of your viewers, and then I became a client, and now I am one of your success stories, and it's so surreal to me right now. But I did dream this, and I did see myself typing this out to you many times before. So let me start from the beginning. I found Athena's channel well over a year ago whilst on my, you guessed it, SP journey, and I followed her for a while before I embarked on coaching with her. I had been coaching with others in the past. My journey started a couple of years ago, and in the beginning I was derailed by a lot of things I was taught through an array of people disguised as Neville teachers. I'm torn right now between keeping quiet about it or mentioning some of the names of the coaches that had really led me astray and destroyed my confidence. I don't want to rant, but I want to rant. I had people who made me affirm like some crazy banshee for months on end, thousands upon thousands of times, and then I had others who just blamed me for the lack of movement in the 3D, saying that I wasn't doing it right and that the lack of 3D movement, the lack of 3D movement, saying I wasn't doing it right and that I should have had results by now. Honestly, I really thought there was something wrong with me, and I hated myself for not being able to do it right, which was so damaging to my mental state. So I was so close to giving up. I mean it. And not only that, but I hit a real low point. I feel the coaching I had received before destroyed me and made me question the law as well as question myself in general. So I think that's why I just want to say, first of all, please be aware of who you get support from and don't blame yourself. Chances are you are doing everything right. This is perhaps why I'm still a bit angry about it. I was going to say, Hunt, you're angry, you're ranting. This is like an amazing success story. What's going on? So this is why I'm still a bit angry about it when I think back. But for now, let me focus on the success, and I will deal with the pain of the past in the ways that Athena has taught me. I just want to warn those of you on this path that please be aware that you coach with someone who has experience. And as soon as you get blamed or degraded or told that you should get results in this many days, then please just run a mile and don't look back. By the time I met up with Athena, my nerves were shattered. My SP was a friend, a social acquaintance of mine, and although I could deem my situation better than most stories I sometimes hear about, better than some stories I sometimes hear about. For example, you're right. So we had occasional friendly contact. I would see him on occasion at social functions. There was no hatred or old story that went south or anything like that. However, it was still a nightmare in its own way. I guess it's all relative to the individual. You see, although I was already in contact and hanging out with him, sometimes through our friendship group, I was the friend who had to like him from a distance. We got on really well, and I've known him for a long time, but we have never been in a romantic situation. I had no doubts about how much he valued me as a person and a friend, but I had no idea if he liked me in that way. He never showed interest and often would try and set me up with other people. I would hint and I would flirt with him, but it never went further than a cheeky laugh or hugs. You know, the kind dismissal that you get from people, i.e., you're such a good person. You're such a good person. And I know you'll meet the right guy soon. But never a compliment on my appearance or anything like that. I put this down to the fact that there was a third party who had been in the picture for pretty much over a decade. Yes, you heard me right, almost 11 years long. From what I had heard from him and his friends, he had been looking to purchase a house with her, which I found really aggravating, as I felt that once they do this, they will be entangled in a situation and it's going to be harder to remove. I realized this was a limiting belief, but I was worried about that. Not only did these thoughts of them buying a house together play on my mind, but my third party issue always seemed to be in my face. I could never get her out of my head. My SP would have photos of them together on socials, and he would tell me of their trips together, their holidays abroad, and their weekends away. And they would be gushing over each other on their social media, and it was sickening. Yes, I am aware that I sound bitter right now, but that's just how I was at the time. Now, I don't think badly of her at all, and it's not because of my outcome. I literally lost concerns about her a long while ago, which allowed me to see my outcome and my goals more clearly. I felt really unimportant in my SP's life, and I felt disregarded a lot of the time. Beliefs that Athena made me shift so easily. I was literally in shock at how she battered them down. And I would ask myself, God, why did I think so low of myself in relation to him, and especially in relation to the third party? But I did. And this was holding me back in many ways, because I would see him not making any effort. And if anything, I felt that he was pulling away from me, choosing her every time, getting more and more delayed when I would contact him, and just seemingly more apathetic in my presence when we did all meet up. An odd thing I did notice, which at the time I found hugely offensive and further cementing the fact that I was unimportant to my SP, was that a couple of times when we were at the pub, she would call him and he would never make it known that he was in my presence. I had to remain silent, like I was a secret, even though there was nothing to hide. Our friendship was purely platonic, and she knew of my existence, but she felt insecure about me being his friend. I was one of the few girls in a male-dominated friendship group, and so it had to always be kept low-key. It was a tough place to be mentally, but Athena made me see how, if anything, this showed that I was important, because I was somehow a threat to her, and perhaps it was because he let some feelings known about me to which she didn't like or found out. I mean, it's an assumption, right? So I chose to believe this. Also, him hiding me meant that he was choosing to spend time with me despite the fact that he knew the third party would be uncomfortable. So I changed my perspective, which really, really helped me to shift my state. Athena told me how the Lord truly works, and she noticed one of my biggest issues was that I was trying too hard. And because I was trying too hard, I was still fixated on everything that wasn't working. That's all I kept thinking of as more time went by. Coach has told me that if I did what they had said, I would get it in a few days. But I did all that I was told, and I really truly believed, but nothing changed like they said it would. Nothing. Another key thing that really helped me was when Athena explained the bridge of events and how a time limit could not be put on it, that it would always come on time. Well, of course, this was music to me, but I would be lying if I didn't tell you that I was nervous about the time delay, as who wants to be waiting another 11 years for the third party to go? By the way, I wasn't manifesting my SP for 11 years, just to be clear. I don't want to freak anyone out. That's how long he was with the third party. But I didn't catch feelings for my SP until recent years, and it just grew and grew and grew over time until I couldn't ignore it anymore. So as time had progressed, I was getting a better understanding of the law and changing some of my unhealthy habits which I didn't know at the time. We went back through my childhood, and I learned to heal a lot of wounds. Athena took me on a journey of hypnosis, and I had a great deal of work through my limiting beliefs. And my God, did I carry so many that I thought I would never change them. Athena has a gift, though, honestly. She kept She kept pointing out to me how I changed my state when I started to disprove my own limiting beliefs also. It was incredible. I experienced in real time what was meant by changing my state, because literally no one else was able to demonstrate this to me so clearly. And once I got it, I was so sure I was set. As things became clearer in my mind, things improved in my 3D, or so I thought. My SP was hanging out with us more and more. And I was even left a couple of times with just him. So we even had some quality moments with just the two of us, which was very rarely the case in the past. I would get a twinkle of some sort of interest, but of course, you never know if it's wishful thinking. I chose to see it as real though, and I did notice that he was touching me more, cuddling up with me, being flirtatious, and he was talking less about the third party. She rarely came out to socialize with us, by the way. She had different tastes and a different friendship group, and she didn't particularly care for our group. So he would always come out without her for the most part, and I was thankful of this. However, I still heard about his wanting to buy a property with her, and horror, I heard from a friend of ours how they were talking about marriage. And as if this wasn't bad enough, this was the worst part for me, they were trying for a baby, and they had been for a couple of months. I mean, what? She put it capital letters, what? Exclamation mark. I could not understand this. I thought I was doing so well and things were really working out for us. Well, in the sense that I felt a connection growing, but anxiety got the better of me and I decided to message him one evening for a chat to try and pry about his plans for a family to see if there was any truth to it. I tried to be subtle, but who can be in this sort of predicament? But he was pretty open and he was surprised that I knew about his plans for a family with a third party. I know I was too attached to this situation. How hard it is. I had this blocker for over 10 years and I was so focused on them for the longest time, thinking the longer it goes on, the more close they're going to get. I did worry that they would get married and I did worry that she might fall pregnant. And that was happening a lot when I was in my anxious, needy state. And now I seem to be manifesting that actual result, or at least that's what I thought. Athena helped me to see the third party differently because, as you can probably tell from the way that I was talking about her in the beginning, she was seen by me as an enemy, the one stealing my desire from me, the chosen one over me. And so, of course, Athena rightly told me why this image of her was keeping it alive in my world and pushing them closer together. I am the creator right now, so how can anyone steal my desire away from me? It is me. Athena was my rock, I must admit. Not only did I learn so much from her and improve in so many ways, but she was the friend I needed, the rational sounding board that I could come to, because let's face it, who on earth would believe me if I told them what I was doing and what was happening here? The guys in the group would think me insane, and I didn't tell any of them about my love for SP because I didn't want to risk causing any awkwardness in the group. It was a lonely and tough place to be. I even tried to ignore my feelings, but they only became stronger even after years. So this bridge, as you can imagine, was a tough one. The man I love is going to dedicate his life to another woman, buy a home with her, and have a baby. And he's there telling me about it, expecting me to be the supportive friend. And of course, I wanted to be that, but I struggled to hide the tears as I texted him back. I congratulated him, and I didn't say much about it, but I changed the subject with my heart shattered into 1,000 pieces. Why was someone else getting my desires, my dreams? I was seeing the third party getting all I wanted with my SP, and it was a hard pill to swallow. So this next bit that happened is a little bit sensitive, and I don't want to upset anyone listening now. Please don't think badly of me, as this was not my intention to create anything like this, but it happened as part of my bridge of events, and we do not control the bridge. Now, I didn't know this at the time, But apparently, the third party had indeed become pregnant, and very quickly by the sounds of it. However, very, very early into the pregnancy, she miscarried, and it was something about this miscarriage that turned things around. My SP was very hurt, and I only really found out when he got in touch and wanted to meet up with me, but without the rest of the guys. I found this odd, but when I went along, I found this odd, but I went along as he seemed upset and he said he needed a female perspective. So he told me of the pregnancy that was lost. However, get this, he didn't know the third party was pregnant. She never told him, as she was making plans to terminate it, and she only opened up about it after the miscarriage. He was very upset and confused, as you could imagine, because they had discussed their future together, and it seemed that she wanted the same things as he did, but apparently that was not the case. That actually she didn't want a family, and she was happy to no longer have the pregnancy because, in fact, she realized that the miscarriage was a sign for her, a sign that she was making the wrong decision here. She also admitted that she was not ready to buy a place with him, and this was why she was delaying and stalling, something else that I was not aware of. But it seemed that she was confused about her feelings, and suddenly, as the relationship was ramping up, she freaked out and realized that this wasn't what she wanted. It was all too much, and she was doing what she felt she should after so many years together with someone, rather than listening to her heart. It seems she might have been really avoidant, and she had some serious commitment issues, and although it sounds strange considering how long they were together, she was okay as long as she had the options to walk away. Now, he really, really wanted to settle down, and she realized she did not want that. And so it took a big event like this to make them realize that they both wanted very different things, and for her to make a firm decision. Athena had told me many times about the bridge of events and how it's always working out for you, even though it may seem to be the opposite. But I must admit, I didn't truly believe it until all of this unfolded before me. I mean, all of this was happening and I had no idea. If anything, I thought it was the opposite of my wish the entire time. I guess things were not as rosy as I thought. Social media, guys, avoid it when it comes to your SP, because nothing was telling me that they were having any issues. I thought they were loved up, but even my SP, although he does care for her and wanted all of this commitment and a family, etc., he said he was actually feeling like a bad person because in some ways now, this whole scenario had opened his eyes to the fact that he didn't really know who she was after all these years, and he started even questioning his love for her. He told me that she was not who he thought, and when they spoke about the future, it turns out that she wasn't being honest with him. He hates secrets, and the fact that she never told him about the pregnancy was a really big issue that he could not forgive and forget. Anyway, needless to say, things broke down soon after that. About 6 or 7 months have now passed, I think, roughly, or maybe more now. Actually, it's all been such a blur. So I shall just tell you where I am at now. So they separated pretty fast after this, and he ended up blocking her. He wanted to go out a lot more to keep distracted, so I started seeing him weekly, sometimes more, with the gang. As time went on, I felt more comfortable asking him to come and hang at mine, which he agreed to, although I was meaning for a movie night or something chilled, which it was again, platonic, for a good few months. Until he made a move on me one night. He initiated it, a touch, a look, and then a kiss. I was totally gobsmacked. He admitted he had feelings for me, but he had ignored it for a while. And get this, he said he felt that even the third party knew that he liked me in some ways, and so she was threatened by me. My God, this is exactly what Athena told me, and was the assumption that I took on. Anyway, he's not living with me, but he may as well be for the amount of time that we spend together. We hang out a lot with our friends, but mostly alone, taking it day by day. But because we've been such solid friends for so long now, it's a bit like dating your bestie. It's the most stable relationship and the most solid that I have ever known. Honestly, I look back to where I was at the beginning of my journey and where I am now, and it's like a different world. I have to pinch myself to remind me it's true. So I tell you all, do not be discouraged and do not be afraid to ask for help if you need it. I did. Against all odds, I did it. And my bridge was looking grim for the longest time. It's true, nothing is permanent when it comes to 3D circumstances, even an 11-year third-party situation. Thank you, Athena. I owe it all to you. Love you so much, and I shall write again. I shall write again after the wedding day. I love that. I love this. What was the word? Confidence. That caught me off guard. That's really sweet. So, as you know, I'd sent her a few questions for her to answer too, so we could get a bit more in depth about what she did. So she said, here is your mini questionnaire. So the first question was, did you imagine every day? And she said, no. I tried to refrain from doing techniques every day as it was making me stressed and keeping me more attached. I did imagine on those tough bridge moments when things seemed to be going awry. It was a comfort to feel in my end and to be at peace. Then I asked her, what did you imagine to get your SP? And she said, in the beginning, I was manifesting more contact or to see my SP more. A big no-no, of course, as you know, a big no-no that Athena guided me to stop doing. She put me through my end scene under hypnosis. As by the time I saw Athena, I was so jaded, I couldn't even imagine or feel my end anymore. I remember that. I do remember that, honey. You really struggled with it. She said that she had so much resistance. I could only see him and the third party ruining my imagination. My scene was me and my SP living together, cuddled up in bed and talking in love. I also had a scene in my mind writing out my success story to Athena, and I felt what it would be like to be able to share that everything worked out for me. I only imagined and scripted a few times. I asked her, what did you do when you missed your SP? She said, I did miss him and I did wonder what he was up to, but I felt more detached as time went on. So yes, I had moments that I would miss him and wish that we were sharing experiences together. But I did see him within our friendship group on occasions, and so I didn't go for very long periods without seeing him as such. Maybe in a way that made it easier, but I don't know. It was hard also as the 3D was in my face mocking me. I asked her, did you notice time passing? Did you feel like you were waiting? And she said, I did in the beginning. I've been on this journey for a few years. And because coaches kept telling me that I was doing it wrong and delaying things, it was causing me to notice the time dragging. So yes, there were moments when I got really impatient, and seeing all of this in my face with SP and the third party got me even more impatient. But it did get easier when I shifted my state and my perspective and decided that I'm going to have this no matter what. Actually, life just carried on, and I felt with every day that passed, I was getting what I wanted, which was my mantra for a bit. It's a nice mantra as well. Then I asked her, did you have a routine and structure with your techniques? What worked? I can't even talk. What worked best for you in shifting your state of being? And she said, Athena guiding me in my end imaginal scene through hypnosis was a game changer as I was struggling to imagine effectively and also working on my limiting beliefs. I soon not only was able to shift my state, but I could be that without resistance. Only in the beginning did I try a routine with my rampage, sounds drastic, rampage affirmations and sleep tape stuff, but no more routines for me. I feel a fool for doing all of that now when it wasn't necessary. The working through my limiting beliefs, I believe it was CBT. Yep, the CBT. was most helpful for me. I also thought the inner child healing was a blessing. I didn't know before how hostile I was being to myself, and it helped me heal a lot of the old wounds that I was carrying. Wounds like not being good enough, and of course fears of rejection. And I think this is why I was shying away from my SP at first and believing that he couldn't love me, because I kept on comparing myself to the third party, believing that she was better than me, and therefore keeping this situation going for the longest time. I also asked, did you get triggered or react? Stupid question, right? Considering her bridge. Did you get triggered or react to the 3D? And if so, what did you do? And she said, oh God, yes. And this is why I needed Athena a fair bit, because my bridge triggered me a lot. I was worried and anxious, but I didn't remain there. And because I had support, I guess it made it easier to cope with. Athena had my back, so what else was there to do, I guess? I kept on until the end. To be honest, having a coach was a lifesaver for me personally. I had a lot of bad experiences, but when you get the right support, it's priceless. And that is where her questionnaire ends. So what did you guys think of that? I remember when I was going through that bridge, and as I said, I was kind of biting my nails because when she was telling me about it, and the thing is, when I made that video sharing what had happened, she'd only just told me the news, and I was like, I've got to share this because I'm going to demonstrate how important it is in terms of persistence and carrying on. Don't be put off just because your blocker might have been there the longest time. The third party is stubborn, is still there. Oh my God, it seems like they are taking the next level to this relationship. I've actually seen this a few times and shared a couple of stories where it seemed like things were going the opposite way and SP and third party are getting closer and closer together. And then only for things to break apart. And it's like, in each circumstances, it's almost like that. I mean, it's definitely like that had to happen in order for things to crumble. It's always something kind of drastic almost that needs to happen. It's like a coming together, a crescendo, and then a big, is that the right word even? A crescendo? But you know what I mean? It's like this build up until it sometimes comes crashing down. And like her situation, it took for a big, you know, sad, horrible event, of course, to occur for them to realize that they wanted very, very different things, and for this relationship to then segregate, to crumble down. I'm seeing this kind of thing happen all the time. So if you are worried about your third party situations and you're putting all your focus on the third party, remember, the focus is always on self. You're not looking to change your 3D circumstances. You're not looking to change your SP. You're not looking to change or remove the third party. All of this is implied when you go into your end state, your end scene where you and your SP are together. You are occupying that version of you who's in a loving, committed relationship. And so how can you feel like you're in competition? How can you feel not chosen, not good enough? You're already there. How can you worry about a third party getting in the way? She's not in the picture, unless you like that kind of relationship and you want to invite the third party along. I mean, you know, each to their own, but you know what I mean? They're not in the picture. They're not in your end scene. It is implied that it's just you and your SP. You're chosen. You're committed to. You're the one that they're with and loyal to. This is what you're capturing, right? So yes, you can do third-party removal meditations, and I do have a hypnosis on my channel, which is there to help you diminish them from your consciousness, to see them differently, see them as less of a threat, because she was seeing this third party as so much of a threat that she was keeping it at the forefront of her mind, getting angry about it, getting frustrated about it. Still, by the sounds of it, hun, carrying some anger, obviously not over the third party, but your past experiences. And you know what? It's not even worth it. Just let it go. You were meant to have these past experiences, be it positive, be it negative stuff, but it's all part of the learning, of the growth. So don't worry, guys, if you are having a hard time of it. And yes, if you are getting blamed, if you are getting told you can do this in a few days, if you are getting all of this stuff, just take it as misinformation. It's okay. Your bridge needs to unfold. It needs to go through a natural process, a natural series of events in order to reach your goal. And that natural series of events can happen very, very quickly, or it can take time, but your movement is instantaneous. Did you notice how much was going on behind the scenes that she didn't know about? She's there thinking that they're the happiest relationship, and actually it wasn't as happy as it was being made out. There was all this other stuff going on under the surface, this stalling, the rumors about about them wanting to buy a house and commit to a mortgage together. And suddenly she didn't even realize that there was some stalling going on, that there was some apprehension going on. She didn't know that at all. So this is what I mean about don't judge your 3D circumstances. Don't be so quick to judge. Just take a step back and be observant. And I must admit, it did derail me. And I did think to myself, how is this going to work out? But remember, it's not up to us. This is already taken care of. So thank you. Thank you, higher self. Let me just remind myself of my end. Let me just find the gratitude in that. Thank you that this is all taken care of. I don't have to worry about this. And thank God I don't have to worry about this. We don't want to micromanage any of this stuff. Let the bridge do its thing. Even if it's a bumpy ride, you know what? You're going to come out the other end of it understanding why it needed to be so. So I really hope that this helped you guys out, that it inspired you. And thank you so much to my client for taking the time to do that. I know it wasn't easy for you as well. I understand you wanting to keep your privacy. Particularly, I know it was quite a hard thing that happened during that bridge. But again, thank you for your bravery. For sharing it as well, because I'm sure it's been really helpful to you guys in the comments. You guys, let me know in the comments as well, what did you think? What have you been through something similar? Are you going through something similar? Have you had successes with removing third party or any long-term obstacle for that matter? How are you getting on? Give me an update on your circumstances. You know I love to know. You know I love to keep in the loop because I care about you all. Love and hugs and light to all of you, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks again.